Hey boys and boys, it's Shay. This week we're talking about going back to school and dealing with transitioning during the school year. I'm actually dealing with this presently, sort of. I'm going back to school in a week, and it'll be the first time I'll be on campus as a trans person. And I also go to an all-girls school, so I've kind of got this weirdly added pressure. I'm not sure why, but maybe it's because everybody assumes we're all girls because we are an all-women school, but that's not necessarily true. Anyway, I can give a little bit of advice on this, even though I'm kind of going through it right now. My two biggest things would probably be if you have people that you want to come out to or talk about this to, maybe friends who you haven't seen since the summer, to keep lines of communication open as you are comfortable keeping them. But let them know, like, hey, I want to have this conversation. I don't have all the answers, but this is what I do know. I would definitely stress that last part because you're going through a transition. You only know what you know right now and what you've known in the past, depending on where you are. Let them know where you're at, but let them know you don't have all of the answers too. And that's totally okay. You are where you are. This whole thing takes probably a lifetime. If you're not willing to have a conversation with people or close friends, let them know that. You can tell as much as you want to tell or as little as you want to tell. This is your transition. This is your life. This is your gender identity. So tell them what you want to tell them and don't tell them what you don't want to tell them. That's your decision, that's your choice, and that's nobody else's choice to make for you. Going through this entire thing, it's really important to have support from friends or family or from somebody at least. So, if you can't find it in your friends, if you can't find it in your family, go to your campus or school counseling center. I found that to be actually a really good resource for me. Sometimes there's cool people in there who will listen to you. This is going to sound really weird, but hear me out. Tumblr has actually been a really weirdly good resource for me in the past month. If you're on Tumblr and you're in the queer community, you probably know that Tumblr is pretty darn gay. There's lots of gay on Tumblr. There's actually a lot of also trans blogs on Tumblr that have totally helped me, just because there's people who are going through the same stuff as I am. It's kind of like mind-boggling that somebody on the other side of the country understands what I'm going through and I don't even know them. So that can help too, just knowing that somebody else is going through the same thing you're going through and they understand. Being understood really helps in this situation. So I would suggest taking a look at some of the trans blogs on Tumblr. I've included some of them in the description, so go ahead and take a look if you're on Tumblr. Look on there. I've also put my personal Tumblr down there too. Feel free to add me or talk to me or whatever if you have any questions. Also, a good thing to do is write out what you want to say to people if you're going to have a conversation with friends or whoever. That helps me just because it takes all of the jumbly thoughts in my head and puts them in sentences on a page that are organized and make sense. So that might help you. The biggest thing I would probably say is just go back with your head held high and go back with confidence and know that you are who you are and you are great as you are or as whoever you want to be. And your transition is your transition and that's your thing. A couple of things on, trying to tell people your pronouns and all that kind of stuff. If you're comfortable talking to people about your transition, don't be afraid to correct people. After a while, it probably gets annoying to have somebody call you the wrong pronoun. Sometimes you don't have the heart to correct people, but if you're comfortable talking about it and you're comfortable saying something, say something. Do it. Don't be afraid. You want to be called the right pronoun, obviously. So, say something if you are comfortable saying something. Use opportunities, wherever you can find them to, sort of hint at what pronouns you use. Whenever I'm in meetings for clubs and stuff like that, a lot of times when people introduce ourselves, we say our names and our favorite pronouns and icebreaker or something. So, take that opportunity hey, I'm Jess, I use male pronouns. Also, if you're in class, a lot of times in the first day, teachers will be taking attendance, and they're like, "Oh yeah, if you have a more preferred name, let me know, and I'll use that name." A lot of teachers actually do that. At least in my school, a lot of teachers do that. They respect that, especially if your preferred name is really close to your birth name. It'll totally work. So there's a little bit of advice for you all. Like I said, there's some trans-friendly tumblrs in the description box below. Also, my personal Tumblr. I don't know if any of the other Boys and Boys folk have tumblrs. If you do, put them in comments below. And me personally, I'd love to answer any questions you folks have. I'm sure any of the other Boys and Boys folk would be too. So talk to us, find resources, have confidence. That's all from me. I will see you next week, everybody. Peace out.